Former President Donald Trump has the best words, the greatest words, and he is going to use those words in this next video. Take a look.
Remember, I was going to say, I was going to use an expression, we have to keep our country gay, but it's not, I mean, for some reason, it's just not great anymore.
Accidentally based. Yes, let's keep America gay. And 100%, I endorse this. That's great. I love it. And of course, I'll just have to add.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Now, look, of course, unfortunately, he didn't actually mean it. It's your classic Trump brain melt moment. I know, very stable genius, right? But no, look, in reality, Donald Trump was terrible for the LGBTQIA plus community. And I'm going to give you some examples why. During his time in office, he advanced multiple policies that made it easier to discriminate against the LGBTQ community in the U.S., and has been supportive, of course, of the Republican basically witch hunt against trans people, especially trans children. They've been absolutely brutal to that community. In fact, a few examples that are specific is where he banned transgender people from the military, well, of course. And by the way, the military has been in the midst of a recruiting crisis for quite some time. But yes, let's just ban transgender people from the military. Somehow that makes you smart. The smartest people, the best people. He also eliminated the guidelines on treatment of transgender students, allowing for discrimination, and gutted the Obama administration's order that barred companies with federal contracts from discriminating based on sexual orientation or gender identity. So now the party itself, as I mentioned, they've already gone in an incredibly transphobic direction, with multiple states putting on bans for transgender athletes in schools, despite most of these states not having any trans athletes at all, or at least no openly transgender athletes. And so they're basically trying to solve a problem that does not exist. Great. That said, his hatred not limited to trans people, according to Maggie Haberman's new book, which, by the way, just got to call her out for like sitting on all this and stuff so that she can sell a book. That is kind of gross. Nonetheless, the stuff that you find in it is interesting. In this book, Trump stunned his own staffers with how virulently homophobic and transphobic he was. One example is from a week before the second debate with Hillary Clinton, who was also, by the way, said at least one kind of transphobic thing, as in they don't really matter. So again, no credit where no credit is due. She didn't seem to be that much better, at least rhetoric-wise. That said, this happened in St. Louis. Trump's close advisor at the time, Reince Priebus, presented Trump with a question on same-sex bathrooms. In playing the role of a female transgender student, Priebus asked Trump whether his hypothetical student could use the girls' bathroom. Without missing a beat, Trump said he had a question. This was his question. Cocked or decocked?
Tallywhacker.
Offering up a blank stare, the group was taken aback. One individual who was unspecified asked, "Decocked? What do you mean?" Trump then began making a chopping gesture, saying with cock or without cock. Now remember, we're talking about a child, okay? We're talking about school kids. So with that context in mind, an advisor in the room asked him, "What difference does it make?" His response was, "What if a girl was in the bathroom and someone came in, lifted up a skirt, and a schlong was hanging out?"
Tallywhacker.
That's what he's thinking about. Okay? Now, first of all, does he not understand the idea of stalls? Bathroom stalls? But his answer also, more importantly, feeds into the stereotypes of, and again, we're talking about children here. We're talking about trans teens and children, right? The stereotype that somehow they would go into the bathrooms and start flashing the cisgender girls there. I mean, that's insane. Why would you think about that? It's disgusting to believe that somebody who, that somebody has devoted so much mental energy, and with Trump, that comes at a premium, by the way, mental energy, into imagining that this scenario is playing out. Like they're just constantly thinking about it. But understand, that's who they are. But there's more. Elsewhere in the book, former Trump employees said that the now ex-president was also show off photos of women he knew intimately as a display of his so-called masculinity. They also recalled Trump mocking homosexual men who were seen as weak, with the words queer, or of course using the straight up F slur. He also tended to bully those in his staff who he believed were gay or who were gay, but not to their faces. Instead, they would make fun of them. He would make fun of them behind closed doors. Now, let me tell you what, that's super manly behavior right there. Oh, yes. Oh, very, very, very masculine right there. Making fun of people behind their back. Real alpha male stuff, Considering, by the way, that this is somebody who is very soft, easily triggered. In particular, former Trump organization executive Alan Marcus said Trump would belittle another executive that Trump believed was gay as a queer and bragged that he paid the executive less. And additionally, the New York Times reporter explained how Trump would have strange obsessions over whether or not specific people both inside and outside of his orbit were gay. What does it matter? What does it matter? In the early days of the administration, during a meeting with then Vice President Mike Pence and ex-communications campaign boss Jason Miller, Trump deemed that the latter, Miller, liked the ladies. Trump, according to the book, further said of Miller, you know how sometimes someone turns out to be gay later and you knew this guy, he isn't even like 1% gay. Again, who cares? Understand, this is a thing that boggles my mind about people who are virulently homophobic and transphobic. Okay? First, for people who are hate and are disgusted by certain groups of people, which again I don't understand why, but for people who are they have to just be so obsessed with the people that they hate. They can't help but think and talk about them all the time. It is absolutely bizarre. And looks like on the right, unfortunately, there's a huge obsession with being perceived as super masculine by other people, by other men specifically. Do you not understand how that's probably one of the least masculine things that you could do, is to care so much about how masculine other dudes believe you are? No, you don't understand. I have to be a super masculine tough guy so I can impress men. Really? Is that why you're doing that? That seems a little weird. Ladies, I can't speak for you, but I would assume that men who are so insecure that they would sit there and obsess about the other, about other men, or the idea of other men, seeing them as not masculine enough. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but wouldn't you not find that attractive? Isn't that unattractive? I mean, again, insecure men seem, I don't know, kind of weak. How else do I put it?
Beta male.
I don't know. I mean, you tell me, maybe I'm wrong, right? But I hear all the time that, women like confident men who are secure in themselves and their sexuality and their expression, and who don't constantly obsess about their masculinity and how they appear to other people. And who aren't constantly crapping their pants over the existence of gay and trans people or drag queens or anything like that. But you tell me. Who's the real beta males?